Well, I think we'll get started. Is it 3 o'clock yet? All right, close enough. My name is Todd Stolzer. I'm with Whiskey River's Gun Dogs, Whiskey River Gun Dogs, where I am the owner, operator, trainer, and head of dog sanitation. At Whiskey Rivers, I'm number 1 at picking up number 2. Thanks for coming today. What I want to hit on today is what I think is the most important training of any dog, and it's the foundation training. So you ask, what's foundation training? It's really the obedience training. If your dog doesn't listen to you in the house or in your yard, it's sure not going to listen to you in the field. It's just that simple. So we're going to cover the basics, and then once we cover the basics, you'll have to figure out how to transfer that over to the field. And then we're going to cover some simple drills that I do to help that transition in the field. And then we'll take questions. But at any point you have a question, feel free to ask me right then and there. So I don't want you to forget any questions. So the first thing you do when you get a puppy
right now at 3 o'clock, we
is generally
3 p.m. seminar lineup.
you teach the word no.
Flushing
We have a new puppy right now, and the first,
Club seminar
hey, that's me.
Essential oils and natural medicine with living in the outdoor news tent.
So the first thing you generally do is teach a word no, because what's the dog doing? It's chewing on stuff, it's ripping stuff off, it's, doing that stuff. So it's important when you do tell the dog no that you remove the dog from the situation or remove the item from the dog. And you don't have to be mean about any of the stuff that I'm talking about today. I think positive reinforcement is really important. But there is negative consequences. So she's licking her butt right now. I want to say, no, I don't want you to do that. So I'll move her head. Okay, better example is the dog's jumping on the couch. All right, I don't want it on the couch, but my wife thinks that's okay. Yeah, it can be on the couch, then I can cuddle with it and get hair all over the place and bring feces up there and all that stuff. So if you're not on the same page, you're just going to cause confusion. The dog's going to get confused. Can I go on the couch? Or do I have to, what do I do? Well, is it okay now? Or, so be consistent. It makes the training a lot easier. Any questions with no? Okay, good. Kind of what? What's your question? Oh, kind of. So the next thing...
How many times can I say no to my dog?
Okay, that's a good question. 1 time. So what you do, if you are continually telling your dog no, I say it 6 times, the dog's going to himself, well, I don't have to do it the first time he says no. I don't have to do it the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. Maybe the 5th I have to, no, the 6th time. So what you're doing by continually saying it is conditioning the dog to do it, for you to say it 4 or 5 times before it responds. So 1 time. Now, I myself, sometimes I get mad, and sometimes I will catch myself doing it 1 or twice. I gotta remember, I gotta say it once. So be consistent with that. Then the very next thing we generally teach it no is its name. And that's really easy. They pick that up right away. So you use her name a lot. Good girl, Kipper. You are such a good girl, Kipper. You call, a lot of people use the name and then hear or come, Kipper, come. So they pick up their name pretty fast. That's pretty easy. The next thing we do is teach the word come or here. I use here because when the dog's, 400 yards away, I can get a little bit more behind the word here. Something with the lettering of it. So what I use for here is a check cord. My baby puppy is running around with a check cord on. And the reason for that is when I give the command, I need to enforce it. If I can't enforce it, again, I'm conditioning that dog not to listen the first time. So I want to enforce it. So one of the things, I don't have a long one, but generally it's about 30 feet. I will give just a little snap on it and say the word here. If the dog doesn't come, then I reel it in. Here. And also doing that, I will give it a hand signal down like this for me means here or come. And then I'll throw in a whistle. So for Springer Spaniels, multiple whistles means here. So it's like this. So I'm giving it, I'll say the word, I'll whistle, I'll give it the hand gesture. So the dog gets all three of them. Eventually it'll pick it up. You can do any of them. See? So this is how it looks all together. Here. Good girl. And then when the dog does something right, it's positive praise. It doesn't matter what you say. You can say, "Oh, you are the dumbest dog in the whole world." Oh, you know, it's the tone that you use. So I'm using a high-pitched tone, making her excited. She's smiling at me right now. She goes, "Oh, I did so good," even though I'm telling her she's a dummy. So it's important to be consistent with this too. And a lot of times I'll have my puppies running around in the house with long check cords on them. Because again, I need to be consistent. I need to give them one command and then make them do it. From there, generally the next thing I do is teach them to heel. Now a lot of times during these drills, I'm using a choke collar, choke chain, and with a clip lead, and I'll snap the lead and you'll hear the chain sound. Okay, it generally doesn't hurt the dog. Now, if you want to hurt the dog with it, you can. I mean, you can reef on it, you can hurt the esophagus, but that is not the point of it. It's to remind the dog what we're doing. Okay? So for her, we always start out sitting now. We'd sit out at sit. Now I kind of skipped one, but since I started this one, we're going to go with it. And what I would do is I'm going to lead with my left foot, because left foot means we're going to heel. All right? Right foot will mean something else later. So I'd give the dog a snap. Here, heel, heel, heel. And if she doesn't comply, I just give a little tug on it. I'm not trying to hurt her. Heel. I'm just trying to remind her what we're doing. I want you right here. And oftentimes, when I teach a dog to heel, I do it on my left side because I carry my gun on my right. I want her front shoulder with my thigh. If she gets too far ahead, I'll give her a jerk back, heel, and I'll say the word heel. Because at some point, I'm going to heel her without the lead. Okay? Heel. Heel. Good. Sometimes I switch hands so I can tap, heel. Good girl. Good girl. When she does a good job, I tell her, heel. Heel. Good. Oh, good girl. Now, any questions on heel? I skipped a step, and before heel, I usually teach stay. And stay is really simple. So what I'll do, I'll have her sit, and I'll say the word stay, and I'll put my hand in front of her face. Stay. And I will step off with my right leg, because again, left leg means heel, right leg means stay. Stay. Now I'm going to keep a hold of the check cord, because most likely your young dog is going to want to come to you. So I'm in front of the dog. If she starts to come, I'm repeating the word stay, but if the dog tries to come to you, I will take that check cord and I will snap it up and say, no, stay. No, stay. That will get the attention. Now you don't have to do it hard. You don't want to hurt the dog. Now, if the dog continues not to stay or keeps coming, you bring it back to the spot, set it back down, and say stay. And try the process over again. And then once the dog, now this is not going to happen overnight. This is going to be a couple day thing. Each dog's a little different, learn quicker. But once they get better at it, and you can trust them, I will say the word stay, walk away, and then as they get better and better and better, I do a circle around them. If they start to move, at first they're probably going to move. Don't be disappointed. Are you taking a break? You knucklehead. Oh, now you're really taking a break. Get up here. Up. So it's stay. Now don't get disappointed when your dog, or frustrated if your dog doesn't do it right away. These guys are an animal. They're an incredible animal, but they're an animal. It takes time. So short sessions, 10, 15 minutes, twice a day is all you really need. People say, oh, it must take so long to train that dog. It really doesn't. 10 or 15 minutes. We all got 10 or 15 minutes we screw away at some point in the day. So it's easy. So we sit and stay here. No. So from there, once we get these essentials done, we need to be able to transfer them out to the field. So again, she does it here in the yard or in the house, but we get out to the field, that's a whole new environment. So we've got to transfer these skills out to the field. Long grass, new smells, birds around. So you're probably going to have to go through the same process a little bit and get them to understand that, hey, I have to do it in the house and I have to do it in the yard. Okay, now dad or mom's making me do it out in the field. Okay, now it's starting to mesh a little bit. I understand. So then once you get them used to these basic obedience out in the field, then you start introducing birds. You can lay down if you want, I don't care. So what I do in the field is we start, first thing we do generally in the field is teach them how to cover the course or hunt. So one of the things I do there's a couple different ways that are really nice to teach them to quarter. We call it quartering when we're questing or hunting. So the easiest way is to have what I call would be your two gunners. And at first with a young dog, you're not going to have guns and be shooting over them. So we take a dead pigeon. Each gunner takes a pigeon, and I'll start her. You always want to start your dog looking at you so you can give it direction. She's looking at me. She's going, okay, what do you want me to do, Dad? Right now I want you to sit there. And so I would give her a direction. I'd say, get out. And I'd take a step that way, point that way. That gunner over there would be what we call flagging. It'd be going, hey, 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 hey. And right before the dog got to him, they'd throw the bird out. Now, the dog should at that point come to the gunner and turn outwards. We really want him to turn out. And then once she got that, she would hopefully bring it back, and we'd go the other side. Same thing. Hey, 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 hey. Throw the bird out, the dog turns out. Now you're asking, why do you want the dog to turn out? I want the dog to turn out so when we're hunting, we don't waste any time going backwards. If I'm going this way, I want the dog going this way. So that's why we throw the bird out, the dog makes a circle, okay? So we got the two gunners, we're doing it that way. Now we're gonna skip a guy. This guy's gonna call the bird, or call the dog. He's gonna go, hey, hey, but just act like he's gonna throw the bird. I'm gonna toot twice on the whistle to get the dog to turn, and I'm gonna point to the other gunner and maybe walk that way, and that gunner over here is gonna flag the dog. The dog gets there, he throws it out, the dog turns out. That's kind of the way you can start teaching him to hunt with help. Now, without help, it's more difficult, it takes more time. So what I would do there, if I'm by myself, which I am a lot, that's what happens when you don't have many friends. I will say get out, and I'll take the dog that way. And we'll do like an S pattern down the field. So when we get out here, and I want her to turn, I'll toot on my whistle. 2 toots means turn, and we'll walk this way. Now there's other ways you can do this too. I can throw out a dummy or a bird, say get out, and then, we'll walk that way. She finds it, or else I'll throw out one over here, I'll say get out, we'll go the opposite way, come back, just to try to get her that pattern to make it more efficient hunting. Any questions up to this point? Okay, I hope I'm not boring you guys. If I am, let me know. The next kind of drill that we do is a line drill. Or before we go to line drill, I'm going to show you right out here how I do this drill by myself. Come here, sweetheart. So a younger dog, on any of these drills, I would keep a check cord on. In case the dog takes off with the bird or the dummy, I want to be able to get control of it. Here. So I have the dog facing me again, right? Stay. So I call this my get out drill. We're starting the process of teaching the dog how to quarter. So I let her see this. To start, I want her to see it. Okay, here. So I'm going to give her a direction. I say, get out, point that way, and step that way. Get out. Here. Very good. Good girl. Good girl. All right, here. Now we're going to go the opposite way. Get out. Got a little hop in her step. A little hop. Good girl. Good girl. Up. Drop. Good. So then, once the dog is comfortable doing that and has confidence, what we really want to do is build confidence in any of these drills. We want our dog to be happy, want to do it. So as we progress, the dog's confident in this drill. So I'll just throw one out. Here. And I'm going to send her the other way. Then I'm going to give her 2 shoots on the whistle to turn. Good girl. Good girl. Get up. You are so special. Right here. That's it. Good. Ah. Good girl. Now you notice a lot of times I don't take the bird right away. I want the dog to hold it a little bit, as long as it's not chewing on it, mauling it. You know, she's happy to hold it. She wants to hold it. I'll pet her and tell her what a good girl she is. Now if she's mauling it, I'll tell her no, take it away. Drop. Good girl. Awesome. All right. Any questions on that? Yeah.
Is there benefit to the scents and the wings and all that kind of thing when we're doing this?
My personal opinion, and this isn't science-based, no. Because it's another way for you to spend money for these companies. I don't find it beneficial. Now, if your dog has never seen a bird, it might be beneficial then. And we'll talk about access to birds or bird stuff. So if I forget it, please bring it back up. Did you have a question, young lady? Young man? Well, I'll show you a technique when we come back in the tent with that, because I get that question a lot. So the next thing that I would like to cover is, okay, say you're out hunting and you have a wild flush, and you shoot the bird, it's, you know, she doesn't see it. How do I train for that without having to call her in or, you know, have to almost walk her out there? Because that's her job to find the game and get a shot, right? So what we do, the first thing we do is we do a line drill. And I'll show you how I do that. Now again, what you want to do is build confidence in the dog. I want to build the confidence. I don't want to make it tricky right now. I want to build confidence in this young dog. And this is repetition based again. So what I'll do is I'll take a dummy and I'll let her see it. I'll throw it out. Did you see that? All right, come here. Come here, lazy bones. I will put her at heel. She knows it's there. That's part of building the confidence, all right? And I will give her a direction with my leg and with my hand, and I'll say the word back, because it's straight backing. So that's what I want to use. Back. So I step directly towards it. I'm giving her direction to the bird with my hand and my foot. Good girl. You are like awesome. Most of the time. So then you can progress from there. Now this is something I do every afternoon when I'm shooting birds over my dogs. This is something I do all the time. I do it with birds. I let them see it. We walk back 100 yards, and they get really confident after doing that really, really fast. And a lot of times, I don't have to give them anything other than a hand signal. So then we progress from there. Your dog's confident. We keep moving it back further and further and further. Now, what most dogs you want them to do is kind of use the wind. So say that the wind is coming from my left right here. The bird's out there. I'm giving them a line, but they're going to kind of use that wind to go downwind so they get more area of scent to find it. And that's fine. Actually, that means the dog's smart. So it's used, that's kind of what we mean by using the wind. So, okay, we got it at heel, right? But when you're out hunting and she's away from you, she doesn't see the bird, you're not going to want to call her in. Right? So we're going to work on that drill. It's a little bit different. I let her see the dummy again to start. Come here, knucklehead. Come here. Up. Lazy. So from there, okay, we got the scenario. The bird was shot. She didn't see it. She's away from me. I don't want to call her in. I want to keep my line on the bird. So I'm going to raise my hand. I'm going to give her the word back again. And I'm going to give her a hand and motion back and step towards that back. Back. See, when you're laying down, you can't see the bird in the tall grass anyway. Good girl. Good girl. Now we're going to try it with just the hand signal. Up. And as your dog gets more confident and gets used to this, you do enough repetitions, you don't need to say anything. Just the foot and hand motion. Okay, as she's bringing this back rather slowly. Oh, you are amazing. So now, say that we're out there and we have another blind.
John and your dog Willow,
doesn't see it, but it's not back, it's to the left or right.
John,
So this is a drill that we use for
head
that.
to the Scurry event, please, ASAP. Thank you.
So I throw one back. Here, here. I'm going to throw one in the shade for you. Up. So now you got to be able to give direction. Now when I start this with a young dog, usually I don't do all three of them. I'll do one side, the first day, one side the next day. And then as it gets better, I'll do both sides. So I'm going to, whatever way I send her, I'm going to say over, except for the one that's directly back, I'll say back. I'll say over, I'll move my hand that way, and then I'll say, and I'll step that way. Up. Here, look, I'm going to make it go the other way. Over. See, she's pretty happy about doing this. Stay. You ready? Back. Oh, good. You didn't screw up today. Up. Up. Good. Stay. Over. Wow, you are like a wonder dog. You are the greatest dog in the whole world. Not. So any questions about that or any of those drills? Oh, okay. So you had a question about the mouth. Let me show you what I do with the mouth. With mouthing and retrieving. I usually start with a wooden dowel. Probably about an inch and a half, sometimes 2 inches, and I'll put two 2x4 ends on it so the dog can't slip it out of its mouth. Come here, baby. Now, all my dogs go on the table, but they like being on the table. I try to make it fun. The old way of using the table was elaborate, long table with a pulley system and wires, and they'd loop around one of the toes of the dog. When the dog did not comply, they pulled a string, which put a lot of pressure on that, and the dog was not compliant. And if you want to hear a dog scream, that is probably the most painful areas, the webbing of the
And now for the small dog.
So what I will do with the dog, a young dog, come here, sweetheart, right here so people can see. When I first do this, they're probably going to want to kick this out of their mouth. But I use a wooden dowel, remember? So, because that's
If you're a dog
And
named
if
Charlie,
once
you're
she
up for long
knows
jump today.
what I want
You
her
are
to
in
do,
the final jump
what
off
I
at
use
4
for
o'clock.
her being
Please
naughty.
report to the long jump
Now,
at North
that
End.
being
Meet
said,
early.
she needs to know what she's supposed to do before I can reprimand her in anything. I will take her lip and I will press it against her canine. I shouldn't have to do that, but so I'll take their mouth, I'll take the wooden dowel, I'll say fetch, and I'll place it in their mouth. Now I will support their mouth for a while because they're going to try to kick it out. They really don't want this in their mouth. And if she does, I will push on the lip on the canine and say no, hold. So I say the word hold, and when she does hold it nice, I tell her what a good girl she is. Good girl. You are just awesome. Good girl. And when she starts to try to drop it, I'll say no, and I'll pinch it, and I'm supporting it. Now the more you do this, the better she's going to get at it. It's not going to happen overnight. So just be consistent, be patient, be calm. Okay? So from there, okay, now she's holding it nice. So I'll put her on the ground with the wooden dowel still. Up. Fetch.
Hey folks, less than 10
And
minutes
then I'll
from
take her
now.
at heel.
Moms
and I'll
and
make
dads,
her
boys
heel.
and girls, don't miss this
Heel.
one. The dog agility
Hold. And I'll remind her what I
demonstration.
want her to do. I want her to hold this.
Chicken
Hold.
Down and whistles up in the dog club seminar.
Hold,
area.
good.
Don't miss it.
Heel.
Agility dogs on
Hold.
display and doing their thing.
Good. Ah, no.
Less than 10
So
minutes
that's
from
perfect.
now.
So I take her mouth. I got my finger on her canines. Fetch. Now I'll give her a tap under here and I'll tell her, hold. Heel. Hold. Good girl. Good girl. Up. And then, after we get comfortable and she's doing really good with the wooden doll, we'll go to a dummy like this. We'll do the same process. Another thing I do is I put them at stay because I want them to get used to bringing it to me to hand. Here, hold, hold, and I'll repeat those words because now she knows what hold means. And they'll say, drop. Good girl. You are so good, good girl. So then a lot of people bring out their dogs to my place. They're a year-old. They've never seen a bird before. And it retrieves dummies. It retrieves everything great. So they throw out a bird for it. The dog freaks out. Doesn't want to carry it back. Well, you can't expect it to. It's a new smell. It's a new texture. Everything's different about it. So we have to get used to it. So I will use this technique and start with the bird. You know, after she's got it, she knows what hold means, we'll use the bird. And then we'll go through the whole scenario. Now you asked about a dog that moused it.
Yeah, she didn't start out that way. She was actually really soft to the point where she fumbled constantly. And then somewhere along the line, we ended up with some, I think what caused it was between the tennis ball and a squeaky toy. And now she is just unbelievably aggressive.
Okay, I usually go over this at the end, but I'm going to do it now because you brought up squeaky toys. Bad for a hunting dog because they squeak, they get that stimulation of the sound, the feel of it. It transfers over to birds, and that's what you're seeing. It's looking for that stimulation it's getting from this squeaky toy. The other thing is tennis balls. I use tennis balls, but they're supervised, so we're using them as retrieving in the water, or I want to get a dog to really start running after it's retrieved, so I'll use one on cement or the gravel, you know, bounce it extra. But I never give them to them by themselves because they start doing this. And they're self-stimulating, and they're getting something from that crunch on it. And a lot of times what you'll see is what you're seeing, the mouthing, but it can get worse. You can get where they crunch the birds. You'll hear the bones break. So that being said, don't use squeaky toys. The other toy that I do not suggest anybody use is one of those knotted rope toys. What they do with that, and this isn't the worst part of it, but they'll take that rope toy and start flipping it. They'll flip it up. It's a self-stim thing. They'll hold on to it, flip it, flip it. That transfers over to birds too. So it's not, it's another thing that as a trainer you have to work to fix because they're just playing with it. They get self-stim. The worst thing about the rope toys, and I've had 2 people in the last year that I said, get rid of your rope toys. both of them had the dogs eat the rope toys, they shred them apart, clogs their bowels, emergency surgery, $7,000, and it can kill a dog, so be really careful with the rope toys. The other thing now, how to fix that. It can be a tough fix. It takes some time and consistency. So there's a couple different things you can do. Really bad dogs, the old technique is you take a frozen bird, you put spikes in it, you throw it out to fetch, the dog grabs it. Now he's not going to hurt himself, he's going to feel those spikes in it. You put a number of them in there, you know, so they're sticking out, but you got to use a frozen bird or else they slide out. So that's a way to start it, because they'll grab it the first time, they'll get the feel of spikes, and then they're going to hold it a lot nicer. Another thing to do is, I'm not a huge collar guy, but I do use it on occasion on a dog that has been on it before, or a dog that I just can't get a hold of that's out here, does everything great, but once she gets out in the field, she just won't listen, you know. We use them on occasionally. And the reason I don't use them all the time is because they get what we call collar wise. They'll figure out when they have the collar on and they don't. So I try not, and in my game, I compete across the U.S. in field trials with Springer Spaniels, so we can't use collars. So they definitely figure out really fast in those games when it's on and when it's not. So one of the things, do you have a collar?
Oh yeah.
Okay. If you have a collar, she loves to retrieve?
Oh.
Okay. All right. Understatement. Yeah. I'll throw out a retrieve for her. I'll let her get it. As soon as she grabs it, I have it on a low stimulation, not to hurt her, just to irritate her. And as soon as she brings that back,
Okay, just minutes
I let go
away.
of it.
Moms
You do
and
that
dads, boys and girls, don't miss
consistently,
the
she's
dog
worried about
agility
getting that darn
demonstration
thing
up in
back
the
to you,
dog club
other than
seminar
chewing on it.
area.
Because if it
Dick
irritates
and
her
Don
enough, she just
Whistle
wants to
put
get
on
it
quite a
back.
show
Now
up
you gotta be
there.
careful with that though,
Agility
because
dogs
if you
in
give too much
action. 2 minutes
stimulation,
away here at
the dog can
Kingston.
refuse to retrieve. Then you have a whole new problem. So
Hers is in the last 4 feet. Out there, she's perfect. She brings it back. She don't do anything. Once in a while, she'll ragdoll it. But most of the time, she's running so hard in and out that it's here to that chair. When she starts to slow down, she's just... If I ignore her and put her on heel, like you said, she's back to normal. Just carrying it. But it's like the reach, and she'll dodge the reach, too. She'll dip her head. So I've been working with her recently, like holding her, then I give her the give. And I noticed that if I just set my hand on her head, she'll mellow from the chomping.
So does she heel? Does she come to heel?
Yeah, she actually does it better off the road.
Okay. So maybe this is what you try with her. Just turn around and walk away and tell her to heel.
You hear your name or your dog's
Have her
name,
heel.
Flash for cash area.
And as she's back to heel, take 10 steps. And as she's forgetting about what she's thinking about the heel, stop,
We have
reach down.
Tucker,
You can try
with
that.
the owner
It might
Brian.
work. The collar might also work
owned by
because
Craig.
as she figures out that,
owned by
hey,
Austin.
maybe you just use it in the last 10 feet. When she starts
With the
doing
owner
that,
Scott Johnson,
and then she'll
Brady,
realize that, okay, as soon as I
and
get this all the way back to
and
Dad,
Bedrock, and
the
Lacey,
pressure goes away.
And Jim Martin.
And you can start low enough, you know, I would start low to figure out where you need to go instead of going high and going
At
low.
3:45.
Because to start low, go high. But try both techniques. That's the other thing. Each dog is an individual. You have your base training, but there's always, no dog is perfect. There's always something that comes up that your base training isn't ready for. So you have to, I suggest to people, go to different trainers, go watch different dog handlers. Pick up techniques that work for you, put them in your toolbox, and then when an issue comes up like that, you have other ideas. You know, because a lot of these books that are out there they give you how to train the dog, but not how to fix it. And that's hard when you get something that's unusual. You know, I would say that's not really unusual, but it's something a little different. You know, so try those techniques. If they don't work, give me a call. We'll figure out something else. You know.
So when you were having them on the table, you were doing more or less a force fetch.
It's a force fetch that is really positive because I want them to get up. Most of my dogs want to get up on the table because they know if they're doing it right, they're getting positive reinforcement.
Yeah, I got a table and what you call it, just a 2x4.
Oh yeah, yep, a place board.
Yeah, place board. And I have a table. I mean, you walk out of the house, she's on one.
Yep. She wants to work.
Yeah.
That's a good sign.
But I mean, she's wound so tight. Is unfortunately, I think it's almost a nervous reaction.
Excited, yep. She's so excited. And you see that, dogs. That's not unnatural. You see that, we call it mouthing. Where they're so excited, they'll get the bird and they're just doing this the whole time. They're not hurting the bird, they're just mouthing. It's not serious, but it's not pretty. You know, it's not serious. If she's, you know, if you're hunting with her, you're okay with it. You know, if you get the bird and you're happy with it, I mean, we'd all like it right to hand. But if
She
you,
brings it back.
okay, it's just the mouthing
She
part.
don't damage birds. I was hoping to go to the next step with her as well.
Well, I would suggest try both of those techniques. The collar might be more effective because you don't have to be right there, you don't have to say anything. You know, it might be more effective. Give it a shot. Doesn't give me a call, we'll figure out something else. Speaking of reprimand, I kind of missed this earlier, but what I like to do is a lot of positive praise, right? When the dog's doing something that it's supposed to do. Now, if it's doing something wrong, remember, if you do use a collar, that is not for punishment. You can ruin a dog by shocking the hell out of it. Because what happens is it shuts down and doesn't want to do anything. Because if it does anything, it's not sure at this point if it does anything, if it's right or wrong. So use it as a tool. It's a reminder. It's not for punishment. And like I said earlier, I don't use a collar a lot. But what I do use, I don't hit, kick. I will yell at the dog. Because they know the tone of voice, they know when I'm mad. I will intimidate the dog if it's doing something wrong and knows. I will walk up fast. And the worst thing that I do is pick up the dog behind the ears. Now that sounds terrible, but I don't have the ears themselves. They're not stretched. It's behind the ears. And it's like Mama would pick them up from the scruff. And I pick them up off the ground eye to eye, and I'll tell them no. And I'll do it to her. They do not like it because they are out of control. At that point, I'm in control of it. This is the worst thing that we do. Okay, say that she's a steady dog, she flushes a bird and then runs off after it. That's not how I expect my dog to sit immediately. So if she takes off after it, I say no, I run out there, so no. And what I'll do is I'll pick her up behind the ears, pick her up and say no. And then I'll move her to the spot. I'll put her down. I don't throw her down. Put her down. I remind her that I'm the boss, we're working together, and she needs to comply. Alright? I wouldn't do that to a dog that doesn't know what it's supposed to do. Can't say that enough, that they need to know before you reprimand. Okay? Anybody have any questions? Yes, sir.
You mentioned earlier a dog that with a collar on.
And I want fast, I want a wavy tail, and I want her focus to be only on me. What I'll do
Run
now
off,
is
sit, and
test
look
it.
at me. Walk towards it, turns for another 10 yards, sits down, looks at me.
Look at that tail up in the air.
How old is the dog?
No, it's an older dog.
Older dog.
And
Springer,
once
it's,
again, like I said, we're looking right now for focus
Well,
on me.
what-
Because she needs it. She's going
There's a couple things you can do. One is if you want to go through the effort of putting a long checkboard on it,
Yeah.
then you have control, right? You can always get control of that dog. Other thing, you can buy a dummy collar.
This is still a puppy.
Yeah, okay.
No, I guess that's what I have to use.
Yeah, because so she's conditioned that she knows I don't have the collar on, I can do this and Dad can't catch me.
Yeah, we're gonna play.
You know, we're gonna play tag. So you put the collar on and maybe interchange it sometimes because at some point she might figure out. Yeah, because these dogs are incredibly smart. Just a couple things on these dogs. Dogs can smell 3,000 to 5,000 times better than us. So you can take a shot of whiskey and pour it in an Olympic swimming pool, and that dog could smell that. That is incredibly amazing to me. Another thing about the scenting of the dogs, they have a chamber in their bridge in their nose that creates mucus. So when you see a dog drooling a lot, that's over mucus, creating more mucus, and then it's coming out of its mouth. And that mucus is what catches the scent molecules. And then they process it, goes to their brain, and they process it what that smell is. The other thing is that they can see 200 to 300 times better than us, depending on the light conditions. So I don't know about you, but I don't want to smell 3,000 to 5,000 times better than I already do. That would be terrible. Any other questions?
It's like 5 months
And
old.
then, but the next thing that I do with these kids is also teach them about
Kind of just does the keep-away game, you know?
that teach them
Checkboard.
to protect places, dark
Long
places,
checkboard
like
every time.
public places,
And when you
dark
think that
places.
you have him fixed,
In agility,
keep it on another week or
depending on where
two.
you show,
Because
it can be
these
both
dogs are
public
smart.
places,
He will test you at some point. And if you don't have it on when he tests you, then you just learn again, that's not on.
And tunnels or dark color. I need another.
It's kind of an inconvenience, but in the long haul, it's way better.
He kind of drops it down a lot.
Okay, so this drill that I was doing up here, he drops the dummy. I'm putting this in his mouth and I'm saying the word hold. Can I do it on him?
Good job.
Now I wouldn't start with the dummy normally,
It's high.
so this is how I do. Here, but what's his name? Jerry. Jerry. Come here, Jerry. Come here, pretty boy.
Kipper.
Take her. Thank you.
She has to try to get in.
Thank you. Yes. The one thing I really truly believe that, especially in spaniels, they gotta know that you love them. If they know that you love them, it's a lot easier to do. Good boy. Good boy. Now I want him excited about this. Good boy. What is it? So then I'll pick him up.
So they already know between 6 months and years how to do things.
Gotcha. And I hold it, support it. Okay. No.
And this is the most
Kind of like
important
me.
thing of all.
No. The paw. No.
But that puppy
This is gonna take some time. I mean, this is not gonna happen
When did
overnight.
she quit?
No. Hold.
She never did she?
Oh, good.
So by learning these new behaviors and figuring
You
out
are a
the
good
puzzles,
boy. You're
they
holding
develop
nice.
a
Drop.
resiliency to not
Okay, so, but I would start with a
give
wooden doll.
up.
And
anyone
him
knows
up a little
that's
bit higher than
when
you.
things get difficult,
And
that's
then,
an
but make it fun when he does it
thing to
right.
have.
You know?
So once
You
we
are a
get
good
through all of
boy.
that,
And another
then we
thing is,
start
after
trying
I
to
get done with every dog
teaching them how to
training,
properly do
I
all
spend
the
at least 5 minutes with
different
them,
pieces of
letting them know
equipment.
what I want to
And
do.
you
That's
serve
that bond.
them.
Right now I have
The
24
year
dogs at my
works
kennel.
out, and his
So
Joe
that takes
are
him
now
some
gonna
time, but
do
it's
their
important.
ultimate. Here's where you're gonna
So,
start
and then
seeing
from there,
some
once
confidence
he understands that you want him to hold this, or the wooden doll, then I start
But you're
to,
gonna notice that
I'll start to heal
what we need
him.
first
And he's
is
gonna
that
drop
we
it,
need
there's
to
no
have
doubt.
a focus.
So you pick it
But
back
what
up,
we're gonna
it's
shift
back.
to now is
Hold.
focus on the obstacles.
Good
So the dog
boy.
has to listen to Joe, but pay attention to all the different
Catch it up.
obstacles.
Oh, yeah, you're gonna lay down and quit.
Beautiful,
Good boy. Drop. Oh, that was so good. Now, being 5 months old, did he lose all his teeth yet? No. Okay. It's kind of a hard age. I would maybe wait to even start this until he loses his teeth
And a beautiful
all the way in,
reward.
because their teeth and mouth get
Now
sore.
you'll notice that these bars fall down
After he loses them,
as dogs learn, and
It's
every
just
once in a while, just
permanent
because the
teeth in.
footing is off, they'll just miss it.
Or else you can send them to me.
For safety reasons, the bar just falls right out.
Um,
Would you like to try that again, Joe?
so speaking of that, I own a kennel in Wisconsin, about 9 miles east of here,
Think about his
and we
feet
do
here.
personal training for dogs. Where they stay with me. Generally, it's 2 to 3 months if they want a honey dog. Depends what they want. And again, each dog's an individual. So some learn faster than others. You know, sometimes I can have a dog done in 2 months. Sometimes it's a little more than 3 months, but generally 2 to 3 months, somewhere in there. We also have a group training day where it doesn't cost you anything to come over and train with us. Group means group, so we have people from, I have people come from the cities here quite a bit, from Illinois, Iowa, and we all train together. And we help each other. So if you want to teach your dog to quarter, we have guys out there to help flag it, start teaching. If you want to introduce your dog to birds, we have dead birds. Hopefully we have dead birds, depends who's shooting. We have that stuff, and it doesn't cost you, other than if you use live flying birds. So, my tent's over here, and if you want a card, come over and get it. We're always happy to have new people. So, does anybody else have any questions? Yes, you got a question? You're thinking about a question.
I just think about what's going on in kids' minds.
Good.
You don't want to know.
No, I know.
This dog
Are you guys good?
is a confirmation winner.
Everybody else?
And
Well,
has
thank you
several
guys.
barn hunter awards.
Appreciate your time. I hope it was beneficial.
Bird hunting, and they're in training for